Welcome to the Building Web3 podcast. Today we're diving into the future of DeFi with the Chief Growth Officer at Krystal. We'll explore revolutionizing liquidity provisioning by making it accessible and profitable for everyone. Learn how they pivoted from a super wallet to a specialized tool that simplifies liquidity management and how they're processing over 500 million in LP volume in just under a year. Remember, nothing stated here is financial advice. Welcome to the Building Web3 podcast. Ayotong. He is the Chief Growth Officer at Krystal. Before we get too deep into Krystal, give me a little bit of your background and what was your come to crypto moment?
So, hi, Jax. Thanks for having me today. So just a quick background about myself. So before entering Web3, I was an applied math PhD dropout who worked in a global FMCG company and management consulting firm. Right? My interest in blockchain actually began with a very small crypto investment, which led me to study the technology through books and online courses, including the MIT's Blockchain and Money course by our infamous SEC chairman, Gary Gensler. So this growing conviction in blockchain technology actually led me to leave my consulting job and join Krystal.
Perfect. And for anyone that's unfamiliar with what Krystal is, could you give us a brief introduction into what's the mission? What are you guys trying to do there?
Okay. So our mission is to make liquidity provisioning accessible and profitable for everyone. So this mission actually doesn't come from day one. So we started with a long journey. Right? So originally we built Krystal to be a super wallet in which all DeFi users can interact with blockchain through one single UI. Right? However, the wallet space got saturated really fast, which much more well-funded projects, right? And it became clear that we would not be able to compete. Right? So we started to look into the niche markets within the wallet space, and we found a group of users who are severely underserved, right? The liquidity providers. So we were amazed that even today, with the today technology, the liquidity providers still need to track their liquidity positions using Excel sheet. Right? It's super unfair. And let me tell you why, right? Because our conviction is that DeFi will eventually surpass DeFi. Okay? And liquidity is the blood of DeFi. So liquidity providers are crucial to keep DeFi alive, and they must be treated as kings, right? Not as underclass like what is happening right now. That's why we decided to shift our focus from building a super wallet to building a tracking tool for the liquidity providers. And it's just the start of our journey of now a much bigger platform to serve liquidity providers, from LP exploration to making transaction and automation and so on.
Awesome. And for anyone that's maybe not as deep in the weeds for DeFi, let's talk quickly about what is a liquidity provider? What do they provide for the ecosystem itself?
Okay. So for this decentralized finance, right, which we call DeFi, there are decentralized exchanges which help the traders to trade from one token to the others, right? And the decentralized exchange don't have the liquidity themselves to help with the trades, right? So what the liquidity providers do is they have idle assets sitting somewhere, and they want to earn passive income with it. So they provide the liquidity to the decentralized exchanges to earn the trading fees that the decentralized exchange collected from the traders, right? While their assets are being held by the decentralized exchange, right? So this is very, I think, one of the first DeFi innovation to help crypto users to earn passive income.
Perfect. And now that everyone understands, what a liquidity provider is, let's talk about some of the challenges that these liquidity providers have and how Krystal, kind of provides some key features and functionality to help them.
Yeah. So as I mentioned at the beginning, right? So the first challenge that we have seen for the liquidity providers are tracking their liquidity positions, right? So they provide liquidities on different chains, on different protocols, and there's no tool for them to track all the liquidity in different platforms, right? So what we built at the beginning, which is like a wallet, but for liquidity providers, so they can see all their LP position, seeing all the advanced analysis of their P&L, their ROI, their impermanent loss, right, in one single platform, and for both their open and closed positions, right. And then like the more we engage with the users, like the more pain point we found for the liquidity providers. So the first one is exploration. So they don't have a platform for them to explore the best liquidity providing opportunities in the market. They have to manually track like each single DEX that you see and compare, right, where it have like the most ROI. And they also don't have a tool like to, let's say, track other wallets, LP strategies, right? So we started like building the exploration feature as well, like together with like the liquidity tracking, so that like our users can find the best investment opportunity when they do LPs. And after that, there's another need, right? They want to make transaction because they see the opportunity. They want to make the transaction fast. So we also started to build like all the basic LP transactions, from providing, removing liquidity to claim fee, compound, and rebalance, right? On top of them, like we build more advanced features of like ZAP, also like let me go a bit into the technology here. So ZAP is a functionality to help simplify the how to say, the liquidity providers transactions. So let's say in the past, when they want to provide liquidity or remove liquidity, they need to take like from 2 to 3 steps. But ZAP, like they can make the transaction in only one step, right? So this is one of the advancement that we have. We also provide automation. So instead of by sitting next to the computer and constantly monitoring the price changes of their tokens, like they can set up like the automation so that like while they sleep, the system will perform the transaction for them, right? So they don't need to take care of their LP position in real time. And last but not least, we also provide copy trading. So the liquidity providers can actually look at the best strategies on our dashboard and just copy it. So all the setting, including the automation setup, will be copied like to their new strategy, right? So like these are all the features that we're building, like by engaging with the users and understanding their pain points.
Absolutely. And let's talk about how a liquidity provider, let's say, I'm going to start contributing some liquidity to Uniswap and a few other DEXs. How would I personally get started? Would I have to move my funds onto Krystal? Would I just have to provide my wallet address? How would it work?
Yeah, it's actually very simple. So if you used to provide liquidity on the decentralized exchange already, like you know the process. So Krystal is just like an abstraction layer on top of Uniswap, PancakeSwap, and so on. Right? So we interact directly with the smart contracts of those decentralized exchanges, so that we just help you to make the transaction simpler and faster and identify opportunities like that you cannot find somewhere else, right? So you just need to log on. You just need to log in with Krystal. Then you like perform all the transaction the same way as you perform the transaction on Uniswap or PancakeSwap, right? And then your liquidity will be kept at the decentralized exchanges as usual. Like we are not keeping anything. We just like the middleman in between to abstract it, make it easier, and also provide you the visibility of all opportunities in market across different protocols and across different chains.
Got it. Got it. And, we're fortunate to have the chief of growth here. Let's talk a little bit about, growing a platform like Krystal. So what kind of growth strategies have you guys implemented to try to scale and grow your user base amongst liquidity providers?
Okay. Actually, liquidity provisioning is a very advanced DeFi activity that even some crypto OGs are not actively involved in. Right? So, with our estimation is that there are only like 100,000 retail liquidity providers out of 300 million crypto holders, right? So we actually have two options for growth. First, convert the current 100,000 liquidity providers to be Krystal users, or onboarding 300 million crypto users to liquidity provisioning, right? So initially, we found it extremely challenging to onboard new users to liquidity provisioning due to the complexity and the lack of supporting tools. Right. So therefore, in the first half of 2024, when we first built like Krystal ALM, we focused on onboarding the existing liquidity providers, the 100,000 liquidity providers, right? So these are the DeFi OGs, right? They usually high ticket users and very analytical. They don't have a lot of time to try new product, but they won't believe in something if they haven't tested it themselves, right? So our initial challenge was like to drive as much awareness and trial from this particular group as possible. And we achieved like very good traction. We actually processed more than 400 million worth of LP volume through Krystal in the first 6 months, right? However, like we always have like a question in our mind that like why the size of the market have to be that small, right? We want to grow the market significantly instead of competing for the existing small market, but we didn't know how. So then this June 2024, with the support of our investor and advocates, we developed like a new product which is called Krystal ILO to onboard the masses to liquidity provisioning, while addressing another issue in the crypto space, which is low float, high FTV, right? So since then, we have been applying the two-prong approach, onboarding the new user with like liquidity provisioning by Krystal ILO, and continue to attract DeFi OGs to the Krystal ION. So that's like our growth strategy at this moment.
Absolutely. And can you talk a little bit about like the receptiveness to Krystal itself? Because you talked about like a lot of these like liquidity provisioning people are more the OGs. They're a little bit more skeptical. Has it been relatively easy to get them on board, or was it kind of a battle?
It's actually a battle, right? Because like as I said, they don't have a lot of time to try a new product, so they either like hear it from someone that they trust, or they just randomly tumble into Krystal, right? Which is never happened. So we need to leverage like our network and also our partners, like to help introduce Krystal to their community, right? So we had like some very high quality partnership with decentralized exchanges, such as Kyber and Dina, for example, so that like they can introduce Krystal to the existing liquidity providers community that they have for their decentralized exchange, and also together with Krystal, like organize campaigns like so their users can try Krystal out and understand like how good we are. We actually attract like a lot of crypto OGs like by these connections, right? And also, the crypto OGs are very skeptical. So we need to make sure that like the security of the platform is like, at the highest level. So we did external audit with Code Foreigner. We also have like, internal measures to make sure that like there's no chance like Crystal can get hacked, right? Of course, like we cannot guarantee 100%. Like no project can guarantee 100%, but we are every day like trying to implement new measure to make sure that our system is safe. And after that, the product quality is the next challenge, right? So DeFi OGs, they have really high standard, right? So we need to make sure, like, from the first impression, we make them understand, like, the usefulness of Krystal to their daily life, and then, like, start using Krystal and spreading the words about Krystal.
Yeah, so it seems like there were a few things. Is one, you needed to cement the relationships with the DEXs themselves. Now, was that tricky to get them on board, or was it largely like, hey, we have good like BD throughout the industry, and that was fine, and then it was just kind of the convincing?
It's actually very tricky, right? Because we also focusing on the big decentralized exchanges, such as like Uniswap, PancakeSwap, SushiSwap, right? So they have much bigger priority, I think, like than onboarding like a new player in the market, like to the ecosystem. So we need to prove that we are trustworthy. We have like good traction, right? So if like anyone from Uniswap, PancakeSwap, SushiSwap is listening to this, please contact me. We have processed more than 500 million US dollar of LP volume right now, and it's a good opportunity like for the DEX to work with us, right? So like we have been in the market for less than a year, but like there's no incident so far, and like our users are loving us. So I think this is the key driver for us, like to approach the DEX and tell them, hey, like partner with us, like give us like one or two like opportunities like to show you what we are doing and to engage with your users. You will see like the real life changing experience that your users have. So I think for our current partners, like they have seen it in their community.
Got it. Yeah. Maybe I don't know if you've been in touch with Native. They do DEX liquidity infrastructure. They might be a good person to talk with, or Mina, yeah,
Yeah.
or possibly Mark at Bank or Jen.
Oh, yeah. I would love if you have some connections like after the call. You can
Yeah,
share
absolutely.
with me.
I'll set that up after. Just remind me.
Awesome.
So let's talk
Mhm.
about how you guys are kind of shaping the like current state of DeFi. Like you're providing better tools. Like what's kind of the vision, like the future vision? Is it just continuing to provide better tools for liquidity providers?
Yeah. So at the beginning, I shared our conviction that DeFi is going to be bigger than CeFi, right? So for us, like for DeFi to grow and to stay alive, like liquidity providers are the key player, right? So if there's no tool to onboard them to simplify their experience with liquidity provisioning, then there's no chance that DeFi can like outgrow CeFi, right? So looking around the market, like we have not seen any tools which are like doing the same thing that we are doing, right? So no advanced dashboard for the liquidity providers across different chain, different protocols. No LP opportunities consolidation where user can scan like all the possible opportunity in the market and copy other people's strategies, right? So we are very proud that we are the first one who are doing so and offering it for free, right? So with that, like we hope to contribute like a small part to the evolution of DeFi and make DeFi much bigger in the future.
Perfect, perfect. And one aspect of your platform is you guys have this initial liquidity offering. So let's first talk about what is an initial liquidity offering, and then like how you guys facilitate that.
Yeah. Okay, so initial liquidity offering is actually a new concept in the market at the moment. So the idea is very simple, right? So instead of giving the token to the investor, we are giving liquidity position for investors, right? So how do we do so? First, the project will contribute their project tokens, and the investor will put in the cash. Cash here can be stablecoin, can be Ethereum, can be BNB, it can be whatever, right? So both the project token and the cash will be locked into a liquidity position in a decentralized exchange, right? And this liquidity will be locked. So for projects, they will have instant liquidity and deep liquidity at launch, and with zero sell pressure. It's already locked in the smart contract, right? And for the investors, they actually can earn passive income with those investments that they made, right? Because like the decentralized exchange will pay them the trading fee, and then like they will gradually get more trading fee while they are waiting for their tokens and their LP position to be unlocked, right? So with this mechanism, right, we hope to solve like the biggest issue in the market in the blockchain fundraising war of low float, high FPV, right? That we have seen, I think, starting in Q2 of this year, so when like the price action is like just how to say constantly going down. So right now we are focusing on serving the high float and low FPV projects who want to have a fair launch and also more efficient launch to their community, to their crypto users.
Awesome, awesome. And finally, like where can people learn more about what Krystal is up to, like get involved, and just overall shout out any social medias you have, any place people can connect.
Yeah, I think like the best way to understand about Krystal is to visit us at www.krystal.app. So Krystal spelled is Krystal, and app is just app, right? Or you can follow our Twitter account at Krystal DeFi. There we share like a lot of information, updates, and announcement about what's happening with Krystal, and also a lot of investment opportunity with our partners.
Awesome. Well, I'll put all the links in the description. Everyone go check out what Krystal's up to. And yeah, let's go continue to build the future of Web3. Thank you so much for coming on.